capital, Clarendon, that has this report.
Sunday was the moment to say goodbye, but goodbyes are never easy. Tears streamed down the faces of mourners as they struggled with grief.
We dreaded this day. We knew it would have been difficult, but I mean, the reality of it is even, worse than we dreaded. We're not alone. We have each other. We stand as a team. We stand as a family, and we also stand in the strength of Almighty God. And that is why we have the surety, the blessed hope that we will get through this day.
Hundreds of people turned up to support the family. They packed into the main hall at Clarendon College, as well as this tent and whatever other vantage point. Cars also lined the sidewalk and rode into the nearby Chapelton Square. This was the largest funeral most of these residents said they have ever seen. Witter and Sons Funeral Home had the responsibility of helping to put together a fitting farewell.
This one is completely different. Your heart, no matter what you say, your heart bleeds. As an undertaker, doesn't matter, this coming like it's your own child. So you put everything out, you try to do everything to comfort the family and yourself, to make sure that everything is well.
Why did y'all decide to go with putting one of the child with the mother? What's the reason behind that?
Okay, it's a small child. The family wanted it. And once the family wanted it, we have to do it. The father wanted it, and we have to please the family. That's what it's about. You must please the family, not yourself. So we have to do what the family wanted. And in these circumstances, I agree with the family to put the baby with the mother. Even though if we realize the cats have to be a little bit bigger, but we do what we have to do to please.
The operator of the funeral home said his staff struggled with the case. It was not easy to prepare the bodies of children and a woman with 20 and 40 stab wounds.
Believe me, they took it out. I have staff that said they're not going around the back. They wouldn't go around there and look at them. Some staff will give support, but they would not go around there because they cannot deal with it. They cannot. Some of them is here right now.
Some politicians attended the funeral. They included the Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Opposition Leader Mark Golding, MP Robert Morgan, and Education Minister Favour Williams. Over $3 million was reportedly spent by the political directorate to assist with the funeral. Mr. Holness in his address reiterated that in order to achieve a long-term solution to crime and violence, a cultural shift is needed. This, he reasons, will help people resolve conflicts such as the one that claimed the lives of the 5 people in Cocopies.
Ultimately, it comes down to our heart. What do we believe in our heart? Are we willing to forgive? Are we willing not to use violence? Are we willing to seek peace and not escalate simple situations into conflict? It depends on what we do.
Perceived disrespect is never a grounds for killing anybody. Nothing can go so.
Exactly.
It just leaves a trail of destruction, of bitterness and unhappiness behind. We must do better as a nation. Prime Minister, you have my support on all measures to turn this country around to a better place. One Jamaica.
The funeral service started 11 a.m. and ended around 4 p.m. In the end, a 5-hour service for the Clarendon family of 5. They were laid to rest at the Sutton Cemetery. Reporting from Clarendon College in Chapelton, I'm Dwayne Anderson for TVJ News.
Thanks, Dwayne. And the government is insisting that strong action will be taken in the wake of the fish kill in the Rio Cobra in St. Catherine. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Matthew Samuda, led a tour of the area today.
Another day and more dead fish pulled from the Rio Cobra in St. Catherine, evidence of what has been happening in the area since the discharge of effluent from Windalco into the river behind the Charlemont housing scheme. Minister without portfolio in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation, Matthew Samuda, toured the area on Sunday, along with representatives from the National Environment and Planning Agency, NEPA, and the Mines and Geology Division. Mr. Samuda says there will be consequences outside of the usual low fines.
The Jamaican government through NRCA holds an environmental performance bond from Windalco, which means when there are breaches, when there is environmental impact, the government can draw down on this bond proportionally to the damage observed. This damage is significant. I will allow the scientists, the team at NEPA, the engineers to do their assessment. But I want to assure the people of Jamaica that the government holds on this environment bond at current exchange rate over $115 million. So we will be able to draw down significant sums to ensure that the cost is felt by the company and that the money that the professionals need to do the remedial work is indeed put into place.
He says there will be changes to key pieces of legislation to increase fines for environmental breaches.
So the government is assuring the people of Jamaica that the issue of low fines will come to an end this year, in our 60th year. We won't continue like this where people can put this as a cost of doing business. There are many steps we will have to take to ensure that we're not having this discussion at Jamaica 70, certainly not at Jamaica 65. So the Prime Minister has instructed that a working group be convened to look at the issue of discharge into the Rio Cobre, to look at the issue of development along the course of the Rio Cobre, to ensure that the fix deals with the issues in the way that they need to be dealt with.
Senior Manager for the Environmental Management Subdivision of NEPA, Richard Nelson, says the river's pH level has already started to return to normal.
Windalco is expected as a part of their spill management plan that they must authorize the spill, they must do flushing, they must do neutralization to get back the system under control, and that is what we are seeing based on what they are doing.
In the meantime, the National Water Commission, NWC, has shut down the Spanish Town treatment plant because of issues with the quality of the water from the river that supplies the facility. The NWC says several communities served by the system will experience low or no water until the quality improves. The NWC says water will be trucked to the affected areas.
Meanwhile, the government is planning to roll out tougher legislation to protect natural assets from exploitation. Now, while touring a section of the Great Bay Area in St. Elizabeth on Friday, Prime Minister Andrew Holness said the law will also look to reclaim private lands with natural resources. Javon Keys reports.
The Great Bay Area in St. Elizabeth has been plagued with illegal sand mining, an activity which threatens not just the land, but the natural ecosystem.
Right here is the Great Bay Sand Dune, one of the largest sand dunes in Jamaica, extend approximately 2 kilometers to the coast from where we are. Then behind me, what you're seeing here is one of the pond systems in the Treasure Beach area. The entire pond system in Treasure Beach are all interconnected, so in periods of heavy rain, the entire system is just one biological system working.
Disturbing the space could cause major flooding of adjoining communities and to threaten creatures in the ecology. Issues like these, the government says, are of major concern and require legislative shifts to clamp down on perpetrators.
The government has to take action, legislative action, in increasing the fines. And it's not just in the area of the environment, it's right across the board. What we are facing is that the society is advancing very quickly. Private initiative is moving very quickly. There is a threat to our social order. And we need to ensure that the legislative framework matches the energy that exists for growth and development.
Mr. Holness says the government will also look to reclaim private lands with natural resources.
The current structure of our law does impose a duty and does give a system of protection for these natural assets which may be on private property. We, however, have concluded that for greater protection